I'm going to explain the rules of Sea Salt and Pepper, a game for 2 to 4 players by Bruno Catala and Théo Rivière, artwork by Pierre-Yves Gallard and Lucien de Rennes, and published by Bombix. In Sea Salt and Pepper, play your cards wisely to create combos and try to win the game. Shuffle all the cards to form a deck that you place face down in the center of the table. Reveal the first 2 cards to form 2 face-up discard piles. There are 4 types of cards. Duo cards, which are played in pairs, placed in front of you. They must show the same symbol and allow you to benefit from their effect immediately. You can play a pair of boat cards to take another turn, a pair of fish cards to take the first card from the deck, a pair of crab cards to choose a card from a discard pile and add it to your hand, and a shark card plus a swimmer card to steal a card from another player. Each pair gives you 1 point at the end of the round. The Mermaids, if you have all 4 in your hand, allow you to win the game immediately when you place them in front of you. Otherwise, at the end of the round, each of these cards allows you to score points according to your greatest colors. The collector cards allow you to accumulate points depending on the number of cards of the indicated symbol that you have. And finally, the multiplier cards allow you to increase the value of your boat, fish, penguin, or sailor cards. The first player is randomly chosen and begins the game. Players then take turns playing clockwise. During your turn, you must add a card to your hand. To do this, you can either take the card on the top of one of the 2 discard piles, or take the first 2 cards from the deck. Keep one and discard the second to one of the 2 discards. If a discard pile is empty, you have no choice but to put your discarded card there. Next, you can place duo cards face-up in front of you to trigger their effect. You can lay down several pairs of duo cards, thus triggering several effects during your turn. Then, if you have reached 7 points or more, thanks to the cards you have placed in front of you and those in your hand, you can decide to trigger the end of the round. If not, it is the turn of the player to your left. When you trigger the end of the round, you must reveal the cards in your hand and announce "Stop" or "Last chance." Stop means that you do not want to take any chances. All players reveal their cards in their hand and count their score. You score 1 point for each pair of boat, crab, and fish duo cards, and 1 point per each combination of swimmer and shark, whether or not they were put down. If you have a mermaid, score 1 point for each card of the color you have the most of. If you have a second mermaid, count your score for your second best color as well, and so on. The collector cards give you the number of points indicated on the card depending on the number of copies you have. Finally, the multiplier cards give you points for each card with the indicated symbol. If you say "Last chance," it means that you bet on having the most points after they have been counted. Each of your opponents then plays 1 more turn and reveals their hand, which can no longer be target of attacks. Each player then counts their points. If your score is higher than or equal to the other players, you win the bet and score the points of your cards plus the color bonus. The other player only scores their color bonus. To count the color bonus, score 1 point for each card of the color you have the most of, whether you have a mermaid or not. If your score is strictly lower than another player's, you lose your bet and score only the color bonus while your opponent scored the points of their cards. Having trouble distinguishing the colors? Each color has its own sign displayed on the top left of the card. If no player has reached or exceeded the required number of points for victory, a new round begins. All cards are shuffled and discard piles are reformed. The player to the left of the player who ended the previous round begins. If, during a round, the deck is emptied, the round ends without scoring. Furthermore, if a player places all 4 mermaids in front of them, they immediately win the game. Otherwise, the game ends as soon as a player reaches or exceeds the number of points required for victory. That's to say 40 points for 2 players, 35 for 3, and 30 for 4. The player with the most points wins the game. Have a good game.